Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. How is everybody this morning? I can see that we've just got projects in Dad's Garage Raid just come in and we're expecting Steve Build's raid any moment. Hi Dale, hi Stephen, hi Jeff, hi Brad, Nick is in the house as usual. Who else we got going on here? Looks like Nice has already gone to bed. That's not the end of the world. Hi Nice, bye Nice. So hopefully you'll catch this in VOD for me. I have been playing with lots and lots of stuff, so things are a little bit all over the place in terms of my stream at the moment, but with a bit of luck, it will all sort itself out. I've been working on trying to give the moderators some permissions so that they can change my screens for me if I forget, but it's still not quite working as expected. So we'll get there eventually. I've got a hookup scheduled with the developer of the software that I'm using to try and work out why it doesn't work for me, because it should work based on all the screenshots I've sent them. So where are we at? We have been working on this Ender 5 and giving it a new tool head and some new bits and pieces for the last, 5 or 6 weeks now. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a little bit tired of dealing with it. So hopefully today we'll be pushing plastic. In fact, if we're not pushing plastic, it might go out the window because I'm a little bit over it. What have we got going on? We have an EBB Gen2 board for the toolhead. We have an APUS2 Phaetus extruder. We have a Phaetus, which one was it? It was one of these. It's I forget which hot end it is, but it's one of the Phaetus ultra high flows in there. And with a bit of luck, it should push plastic. Now, where we actually finished off last week, we were having a few electrical gremlins with the system, and it turned out that we had a partially failed fuse. Not the end of the world, but what was happening was that fuse had got stressed, and the moment you tried to pass more than a little bit of current through it, it just would disconnect the MCUs, and we would end up having to restart. It was initially looking like it might have been the same gremlins that Projects in Dad's Garage had been suffering when he was using Debbie and Trixie, but I've since been able to rule those out after doing a little bit of off-screen testing just to see how things are. Now, I won't name names, but I've had some very concerned messages from a couple of people that I was putting my hands in places with high voltage. So I've printed myself a little terminal cover to go over the terminals on the LRS 350 that's in the power box for the Ender 5 to make sure that I've got a little bit more separation from between me and the spicy stuff. So what we need to do today is we need to plug in the screen, we need to push some plastic, and we need to do a few little calibrations. Now, I did, while off screen, do a little bit of playing just to see what sort of accelerations I can expect. And as stock with the V wheels, I can get about 6,500 millimeters a second acceleration, which isn't too bad, I don't think. Not for V wheels anyway. Bearing in mind that V wheels do have, because of their design, have to have a little bit more tension on them than you would ordinarily get with linear rails. So I'm not too unhappy with the numbers that I was seeing, and we should be able to do some fun things. If we run out of content, then I do also have a brand new printed filler matrix that I printed out yesterday. This is Polymaker's Galaxy Red ABS. Not sponsored, but I did win it as a prize, so I figure it's a nice idea to call them out on it. And you might be able to see that this is not a standard cover, it's actually for CPAP. And as you can see, in the middle here, it's very, very thin. I just printed a 0.6 millimeter thick cover there just to hide the internals of the where the CPAP connects to the toolhead. So if we run out of stuff to do on the Ender 5, or while we're waiting for the Ender 5 to do its various calibrations, then we might start putting that together. I've got lots of ECAS fittings and lots of other stuff floating around, so we should have plenty of hardware to get that done. Worst comes to worst, I can always strip out the existing filler matrix off my V2, because that's where it's going, and we can start putting that together. Now, let me just rearrange a few of my screens so I can see what's going on and what everybody's saying. And here's the raid from Steve Builds, apparently, so that's awesome. Hi, Keith. Hi, Dave. Dr. Dave. Hi, Simon. Now, due to the time zone changes, we may... Hi, Petty. Now, Petty, I'm sorry. Hi, John. You haven't made it in a while. Petty, I'm sorry, there's nothing for you to win on this stream. Petty Ruxpin, for those who aren't familiar with him, seems to win every stream he goes to. So I'm just warning him in advance, there's nothing to win here. Don't knock it. Kevin or Deanna and Buddy Dynek. Okay, so welcome everybody. Please like, please subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. I've just cracked 200 subscribers on my way to the 1,000 that I need for a little bit of YouTube love. So if you guys haven't already done so, please click all those buttons. The working link for Discord has just been posted, so please feel free to join my Discord. And as much as you hate daylight savings, John, at least it means it's 1 hour more friendly in terms of catching my streams. Reverend! Says the guy with the fancy cool one behind him. I'm not going to lie, when Bearded Printer won the XL the other day, I was like, it would have been nice. We couldn't have gone to a nicer guy, though. Bearded has been very supportive of me and a whole bunch of the other smaller creators of late, so couldn't have gone to a nicer guy. So quickly refreshing for those who jumped in, we have an Ender 5 that we've put an APUS2 extruder and a Gen 2 EBB board onto. It's got the 42 variant, which is something that I don't think anybody else has actually streamed yet. And we're slowly in the process of hopefully making it a bit more usable. And if we run out of time, we've got a little bit of work to do to, if we run out of stuff to do while the Ender 5 is doing its thing, we've got a little bit of work I'm doing on my V2 to give it a brand new filler matrix. It's very early here yet, only 6 p.m. Nice, Deanna, that means you can hang out. I normally go for about 2 hours. Shouldn't an Ender 5 be in a museum? Yes, it should, John, but it's like with most people, it's my first printer, and that first printer always just, it has a special place. It's had a number of iterations over the time I've had it. It, up until recently, had a BQ-H2 V2S on it as the extruder and hot end, and it did really well with the Revo, but I want something that I can print at rocket ship speed, so this is working towards that, and when I can afford some rails, then I'm going to put some rails on it. Dale Mac 3D, it's 2:12 a.m. in the UK. That's early then, because up until a few weeks ago, it would have been 1 a.m. So Petty Luxpin goes all of a sudden. Okay, so what do we need to do? Let's have a look at this Ender 5, shall we? Let's go to the side camera. Zoom you out a bit. That's not really working, is it? Let's try this one. There we go. There's a bigger picture. There's the Ender 5. Please ignore this light. It's just giving me a bit more light so you guys can see things a bit better. What we've got on here are the Physec buttons, which I have a skirt that I tried to print this week, but it just wasn't coming out quite right, which is actually a contiguous skirt, so it can fit one more button and it looks a lot prettier. BTT HDMI 5 screen, a Rapidburner Toolhead, APUS2 extruder, it's not a Rapido, it's the other one. It's the ultra high flow hot end that can also do the exotic filaments with glass and carbon fiber and all that stuff and not even worry about it. And on the back, we were originally working with a Raspberry Pi 3, but the Raspberry Pi 3 went to the Silicon Workshop in the sky, and now we're running with a Raspberry Pi 4. Currently using all 4 of the USB ports because I went from a CAN original setup to the USB when BTT gave me the okay to go ahead and use the board on streams. This isn't actually a production board, it's one of their prototypes, and there's a couple of very minor changes between this and the production version, because at the last minute we realized that one of those old bugs had reappeared where they'd accidentally used a pin that is automatically set to high for the hot end when you're doing your firmware flashing. So that gem reappeared and they had to do some rejuggling. So this board has that bug. The public board doesn't have that bug. And some of you may have seen on streams that I'd mentioned that there was some bugs with the pinout diagrams that were supplied on the wiki and on the GitHub. They have since been updated as of earlier this week. The 42 got fixed on Sunday and the 36 got finished on Tuesday, I believe. So all those new uploads on the GitHub are the current versions and are correct. So the actual place we left off, we were trying to warm up the toolhead and do some motion testing. And that's when we were having a few issues, but they have been ironed out with the replacement of that fuse that I was having a few issues with. So what should we do? Cat ears on the toolhead gives better input shaper results. Nick, we both watched Lee Marie streams, and we both know that cat ears slow you down when you're building a stealth changer, so no. Silicon Heaven, there's no such thing, no such thing. Then where do all the toasters go when they die? They just die. That must be a movie reference that I don't get. I'm sorry, Kit. Red Dwarf, okay. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've watched The Dwarf. So, first thing we should probably do is get ourselves some filament available. Something I don't mind burning a whole heap of. Not that blue because I need it. The yellow. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my workshop, let's adjust that camera so you can see and go to behind all the printers. I have a big rep rack up on the wall above me. I'm not going to mess with that. My OBSBot software is playing up, so I'm running Sun's, not that one, that one. There we go. I'm running without the OBSBot software at the moment until they sort out the bug that's crept in with the latest updates. Now, one thing I do need to optimize is the length of this PTFE tube because it's insanely long. I've got a few parts that I've got designed for it to address it, but I'm not ready to print them out yet, but there's a few things I want to work on. It's gone around the tight curve. This PTFE, for those who haven't seen it, is almost 2 meters long, but I don't want to cut it until I've got this really ready. Now, the way I've got this set up is there's actually the this wiring loom sleeve, and the PTFE, the USB cable for the EBB 36, and a piece of 0.8mm piano wire are all run up inside the sleeve to keep it all together and to keep it all nice. And what that does is the piano wire just gives it that little bit more rigidity so it doesn't flop into the path of the tool head. Duct tape can give any mechanical that thinks it knows better. 2 meters, that's ridiculous. Yes, I know it's ridiculous, John. And once I've sorted out the way I'm going to retain this sleeve at the back of the printer, it will be cut short to suit. So on the side of the APUS2, because I know this is a fairly rare tool head that very few people have seen so far, there is a little lever here to relieve the tension on the extruder, but I'm not sure how well it works. So let's warm up the tool head to 180, which should be plenty for PLA. Let's go to that one. Now you just need to bear with me a second. I just need to adjust this so it can, you guys can see it. There we go. Sometimes when I'm working here at home, I'm chatting with people I'm doing things for beta tests. So I have to disable various things on my OBS so that I can talk to people and see people, but they can't see what's going on here. So I didn't actually set that temperature. So let's set that 180. And we are warming up. Now, that's not the right printer. That's the Voron. That's the right printer. That's the Ender. Well, that's promising. You guys probably can't see it reliably, but the hot end fan came on. There we go. Now, we've got to the point where we need to be, if guys and girls don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Or give you handy. Dingleberry breath. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Nick is quite mad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself an extrusion length of 50 mils, and I'm going to do it reasonably slow at 5 millimeters a second to give myself a chance to intervene if I have to. Let's go to that one and turn. Yep, you can see what's going on. So let's extrude and see if it'll accept the filament. In fact, you know what? Let's make life easier. Let's take this out. Because I'm not sure I've got the extrusion direction set the right way. There we go. Well, the direction's the right way. Now, the setup for the extruder parameters is all done in the CFG file. So we shouldn't actually have too much to worry about. And we have filament coming out. That's promising. Let's go to there. And let's go for a little bit more exuberance with our speed. And if nothing else, I can say we've achieved the primary goal of this stream, and that is to push plastic. So that's done. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cool it down. Let's go for 0 degrees. Down Under Maker, you should give your standard warning about your Discord. Oh, yes. My Discord is very much aimed at an adult audience. There is a channel which is marked as Meme Lords, and the content that goes in there is within reason, anything goes. Politics is fine. Adult content is fine within reason. But if you are going to post something that's stretching the bounds of normality, please mark it as a spoiler, because then it gives people the option to view it or not. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of rules on my Discord other than keep it civil. And if anybody is playing silly games or being abusive, then they just won't be there anymore. Hi, Steve. Okay, so we have pushed a little bit of PLA. So we know the hot end is working. We know the extruder is working in the right direction. Let's try and do one of those speed tests. So you guys can't easily see this. So let me see if I can move things around a little. Let's go. How can I easily get rid of that? There. Let's try this. So what I've done is I've just rearranged the shape of the screen, which should then mean that you can see things a little easier, but then that doesn't really work for other things. We'll see how it goes. So test speed and accelerations for 6500, and we're going to do it over 3 iterations. Let's not do that. Let's just go for the spectacular stuff and hit enter. Now, taking a leaf out of the V0 book, I have set this to home to the bottom because homing to the bottom is a safer way to do it. And I am using physical end stop switches on this machine. Adult in age, not state of mind, exactly right. What is normality? It's certainly not here, Deanna, so I don't have a reference point. Now, I think I might want to... That's not going too bad. I'm going to find some boxes off some filament spools to jack up that camera so you guys can see a little bit better. That was pretty uneventful. That's nice. That wasn't good. Oh well, fix that after stream. So I just dropped a spool of filament on the top of one of my V0s. And I'm not sure if it cracked the acrylic on the top. Did that unplug? Is it probably unplugged? There we go. So, speed tests at 6500 all seem to work quite nicely. So let's see if we can push it to 7000. It does, doesn't it? It came out really nice. The one thing I want to do, Havoc, is replace the sheath with blue, so that so that it all matches the rest of the printer. But there wasn't any blue available at the time, and I really wanted to see if this was actually a solution in terms of keeping everything together. I like it. I'm also probably going to get myself some blue heat shrink for when I do this part, just so that it all nicely matches and ties in. But as a solution, the woven sheath, the heat shrink, and the 0.8mm piano wire, which is actually embedded about this deep into the custom board mount, is all working quite nicely. You've been on the fence about that one. It didn't launch any fasteners. That's a good thing. Okay, so we last test was at 6500, so let's try 7000 and let's just see what happens. XY is homed. The only reason I'm doing this, guys, is so I've got a number to plug into. Not sure what happened then. Oh, it's doing its thing. I just want a number to be able to plug into the slicer and into the CFG file. And we lost a whole bunch of steps on Y then. So it's probably going to crash. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I was being way too ambitious with 7000. 6500 seems to be a good place to stop. The really good thing about it, Havoc, is the front plate here can actually be replaced. You can actually take that off and do your own plate. So I've got a custom koala that I'm working on. Once I've finally got my box turtle online, it's a multicolor koala that's going to go on there just to match my stream logo. So we got 6500 was working, 7000 is too exuberant. Let's try 6750 and see if we can get away with it, and then we'll leave it at that. It's a little bit of the frame nick, and it's a little bit of the rolly wheels that it's on. So for those who haven't seen my setup, I have an IKEA Alex wide draw set on casters, and then it's got a jacked up extra top on it to make it match the height of my my printer desk behind me, so I don't have to lift anything too far. And 6750 seems to be fine, so I think that's what we're going to live with. Let's go back to Chrome, make that a bit bigger. Helps if I click actually on Chrome and not on the OBS window. And let's go to here, make that wider and go to machine. And the printer CFG is here. And printer geometry is what I'm looking for. Printer. And 6500 was where I'd already got to. And 6750 seems good. Max velocity is 1000 millimeters a second. I'm going to up that to 3000. Max Z velocity, I'm going to go for 30. And save and restart. And let's give it a quick hone. And that's all good. So let's set that to a sensible Z height. Let's go for 15. I might have been that poor brass bushing. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys could hear that, but there was quite a squeal coming from the brass bushing. So I've been a bit overzealous with that maximum Z speed. Let's go down here. Max Z. Let's set that down to 25. Ravage kangaroos and drop bears. Oh, Nick, we've had death in the family. We're down to only 4 venomous spiders in the garage. It's really quite sad. So, yeah. Let's move this off a bit so it's not in the way of that other camera. Don't fall over. There we go. Let's just go to the side cam, see if it's still working. No. These are a little bit finicky. There we go. So, next up, let's shut this thing down. And let's install this screen. Now, for what I'm using it for, I normally have the screen up here, and I had experimented with having it down lower, which leaves me with this spot here. Otherwise, the cabling conflicts with the bed. Thoughts? Should we have the screen down here out of the way or up here where it interferes with the view of the bed a little bit, but is much more accessible? This is a choose your own adventure, guys. You need to tell me. Lego booby traps, as kids say each morning. Fortunately, it's Lego Duplo at the moment. It's not the little stuff. Once it's the little stuff, then it's going to be really painful. Now, fortunately, the local authorities have finished with their kangaroo removal scheme. We had just too many wild kangaroos in the area, so they've rehomed a whole bunch of them, and they've stripped back the vegetation along the side of the road in front of my house. So that means that there's less for them to be attracted to come in and eat. But it does mean I haven't seen any kangaroos outside my window for a few days, which is a bit sad. Now, other things we need to get done if we can. We've got the cable to attach for the filament runout sensor. I have made one up, and I'm hoping I haven't lost it or buried it. They're extra spare USB cables I put there just in case. So, guys, what's the thoughts? Screen up the top or screen down here? Oh, you guys are all distracted about Lego. They're standing on a UK plug. UK plugs, they're not as dangerous, Greenie. I'm sorry, the Aussie plugs are more dangerous. Have I got one handy that I can show you? Here we go. Check that sucker out. Those blades are a lot finer than the UK ones. The UK ones are about twice as fat, so there's a lot more surface area. These ones dig in way harder. The extruder motor gear is the APUS2, and the hot end is one of the Phaetus hot ends that I can never remember what it is. Is that it? That's the APUS2 extruder. It's the, I don't think it's the Rapido, but it's like that. It's the 2F. Let's see if we can find it. Not that one, because that's my password manager. That one. Oh, it is the Rapido 2F. Now, this is Dremk. He's one of the local Aussie vendors. Top guy, and he has looked after me with a few referrals from various customers to my streams. So no harm in showing his website off. Yeah, so it's an ultra high flow. It's got the two heights. It's got the extended to make it ultra high flow, or you can just keep the standard flow. Oh, well, standard high flow, should I say. And it's got a detachable PT1000. And a whole bunch of extra hardware kits. So it is the Rapido 2F. I should have remembered that, but it's been a while. Okay, let's go back to mainsail. Don't need mainsail, do we? So the screen is plugged in, and that's all there. So let's test out and install Clipper Screen. Now, does anybody remember, did I have Kiao on my install here? End of 5. That's not going to load. I'm just loading Putty up on a side screen. 1 second, guys. At least with this setup, you don't have to see my face as much. Although I did shave for you guys. That's not working. End of 5.local should work though. Putty, there we go. End of 5.local. End of 5.local does the host does not exist. What? Oh, it's not switched on. That would help. Your menace is ground squirrels, skunks, and possums. Well, we have possums here, although they tend to be more on the East Coast. It's one of the few marsupials that you guys have that. Coyotes. We have dingoes. The dingo ate my baby and all that stuff. Now, is that the right Discord link or is that one broken? Invalid invite. This software that I'm using to make this all work is a bit odd. So I'm just going to shut it down and then it won't spam everybody. And I will just randomly spam the link when I get a second. Invite people. And let's paste it in. I need a bit more nitro to be able to get a static URL for the Discord. All right, let's go to that. What are you guys seeing right now? You're seeing that. That's good enough. So hopefully now that's loaded. Refresh, and we're in. So now that means I can bring up Putty and go ender5.local, accept, and let's make that a little bit easier for you guys to see. Appearance, and we found that 16 works really nicely. There we go. So, hi, Raspberry, and we're in. Let's bring up Kiao, or however you want to pronounce it. Because I can never remember the link to get to it. The command to get to it, rather. That one, copy. And paste that in. No file or directory, so we don't have it installed on this one. Well, that's silly. I thought we'd installed that. Let me just rearrange a few things on my screen, guys. One sec. So let's go you over there and you just there. Okay, so now my screen matches what you see, which is going to make life a little easier. So we're going to install Kiao. Oh, that's right. This is the Trixie build. That's why we don't have it here. So for those of you who don't know, there's been a relatively recent release, a new release for Raspbian, which is basically aimed entirely at pushing people to 64-bit. And the stream last week was inspired by projects in Dad's Garage saying that he'd had nothing but trouble using it. So we were like, let's give it a try. And so far, I haven't experienced any of the issues that he had. We thought we might be seeing them, but it turned out to be a hardware issue. So we currently have Clipper installed. We currently have Moonraker installed and Mainsail, but we don't have anything other than Crow's Nest. Crow's Nest probably isn't working because Trixie doesn't have all of the prerequisites for it, and I haven't yet had time to deal with anything. So we're going to go 1 to install, and then we're going to press 7 for Clipper screen. Now, tip for you guys. In a moment, it's going to actually prompt us, do we want to install Network Manager? Always say no. Always, always, always say no. If you install Network Manager, it will do all sorts of strange things. So rely on Raspbian's built-in one, and you should be fine. Let me see this. Install standalone. Yes, we want to install Python standalone. We want to go with Xserver, which I found is more reliable. Wayland works in some situations, but not as well as others on Raspberry Pi. I believe on Orange Pi, the Wayland is much better supported and works much better. In fact, I think I saw something about the release notes of Mainsail OS and now having Wayland in it. So they obviously have found it worthwhile on the Orange Pis. So the desktop environment's been installed. What's going on here? Coyotes everywhere. It's a war zone here. Alligators versus pythons. I'm sorry, but alligators, nah. Until it's a saltwater crop, nah. Funny story, my wife and I had our honeymoon in Broome in northern Western Australia. middle of the tropics, hottest, and it was during the dry season, so it wasn't crazy wet. But our tour guide was very much, he wasn't far off being Crocodile Dundee, let's put it that way. And he wasn't putting it on. He genuinely did live off the land 6 months of the year. He used to go and find a spot of high ground that he liked during the rainy season, and he'd camp there for 3 months, completely isolated from the rest of the world, because that's how he got his zen back. And then during the dry season, he did tourists and took them around northern Western Australia. We were all sitting there in this place called Tunnel Creek in Geki Gorge. And he goes, okay, guys, these are all freshwater crocodiles. Don't irritate them and they'll leave you alone. I'll be back. And then this guy takes off his, what you guys call flip-flops. We call them thongs here, for those who don't know. Took off his thongs and he just bolts down this sandy beach in this gorge up to this other tour group. And all of a sudden we hear him yelling many, many, many expletives at the other tour guide. And then a huge rush of water as the saltwater crocodiles that they were sitting next to and didn't realize, all of a sudden decided to go, oh, there's lunch right there. So yeah, that was fun. But that day was relatively cool for up there. It was only 47 degrees in the gorge. 47 degrees Celsius, that is. Centigrade, if you're in the UK. So Python's installing. Now, while that's installing, you don't really need to see that one or that one. So let's go back to this view for a minute. I have been printing out some parts for building a brand new filler matrix. This is all printed on the Core 1. This is a local Aussie guy. He was on the 1440 Makers stream the other day, and he's a member of the new alliance with Prusa and a whole bunch of others for the open filament tags. A guy called well, the company's called Sediment out of, I think it's Sydney in New South Wales, and this is his ABS carbon fiber. So we've got all of this to go together. And we also, when I can turn the power off, need to put the LRS 350 cover in. Let's pull up the filler matrix manual. That one. Thunder Keys filler matrix, there we go. Now, in order for you guys to get the nice close-up view of the printer, I'm having to look through the tripod that it sits on. So what's it saying here? Some modified version of filler metrics, we know that. Yay, my kid had a fire drill at school. How to print it. Is there a manual on how to put it together and how to take out the supports? That's what I'm looking for. Does anybody know if it's on the box turtle assembly guide? That's the enclosure. How to do ECAS. That's the skirts and stuff. Let's see if there's some way to jump to it. What am I looking at here? Nick says, sounds romantic. I believe that it has info on the removal of supports. Yeah, honestly, Reverend, there's not a lot to dial in on the Core 1. The only dramas I've had with it was the filament sensor. Having spoken with the Aussie rep for Prusa, they had a situation where there was some problems for about a 2-week period with the assembly, and my unit just got caught up in it. And since I reprinted the filament sensor myself and discovered that the PTFE wasn't fully inserted as a result of printing it myself and then inserting the PTFE into the new one, everything's been as it should have been all along. It's a bit disappointing because I did get that little docket to say it's been fully tested for everything. But yeah, obviously not quite. So what was happening was the filament would go past the sensor here on the side of the printer, and there's a little ball bearing that acts as the an easy way of reducing the friction on the filament. That ball bearing was actually trapping the filament, and it couldn't push the filament back past it because of the way the PTFE wasn't inserted properly. So here we go. This is what I was referring to a few minutes ago. Install Network Manager. The answer is no. And we're done. And let's have a look. Let's go side cam. No, just me. That's the one we want. And we have Clipper screen. So let's go move and home. Home all. Oh yes, my son's 3D Sets roadie truck, it used to live on the top of the printer, and since I've tweaked some settings and made it go a little bit faster, it's not safe to live up there anymore. I've actually built 2 of these trucks. This is the second one, printed entirely on the Prusa. And this one's done kind of like a Tonka truck, the kiddie push-along trucks. It's got no electrical gear in it. It's just the wheel bearings and the shafts. So that means he can push it along like a Tonka truck and not break anything. And my daughter, she's got the radio-controlled version. The radio-controlled version was printed on my Voron, and it didn't come out as well. There's some magic that they do in Prusa Slicer and the 3MFs from the 3D Sets guy that tweaks tolerances here and there just slightly, and it just doesn't translate across if you don't use Prusa Slicer and you're not doing it on a Prusa printer. So keep that in mind if you are printing 3D sets, that really is optimized heavily towards doing it on a Prusa. So we are here. I don't think I've actually got any STLs on here, do I? Print. No, because this was a fresh install. Let's go to here and refresh. Now, I think it's here we can go. And somewhere in here is about importing, here we go, restore everything. So I'm just restoring the database from the original install, because I want to keep all my logs and stuff for everything I printed. Won't have any STL files on here, unfortunately, but that's not the end of the world. And let's go to printables and let's go for Wombat. There was a Flexi Wombat that we got off printables when I got my Core 1. Or was it a koala? They called it a koala and it was actually a wombat. That's it. Looks more like a wombat to me. Oh no, they've updated it. That's it, that'll work. So let's go download and give me a second while I prepare Prusa Slicer. Okay, and okay, so what I've actually done is I've got a whole third screen that's set off it way in the background that I can use as a show everything that comes up on this screen rather than an app capture, because otherwise you don't get to see all the pop-ups. So let's go. Helps if I'm clicking on the actual app and not on OBS. Silly thing I do all the time. Let's change our printer. Creality Ender 5 Plus. It's not an Ender 5 Plus, so we need to add a new printer. Add a physical printer. No, we don't need to add a physical printer yet. We need to add a software printer first. Drum roll. Oh, for those who are users of Prusa equipment, the app has just been updated to include their open spool stuff that they've started doing. I'm not going to update that for now because I want to make sure what it's doing. And we want to go to here. Ender 5 Pro with a 0.4 nozzle for now. Let's untick the plus because that was a school printer that I don't work with at school anymore. And let's discard all that for now. And we're going to send this straight to the slicer. So hopefully it should pop in. There we go. So, type of filament are we using? We're using PLA. I'm just going to go with a standard Prusament. Let's go for 0.2 layer height at, what do they call draft speed? Max volumetric speed, we should be able to get 30 out of this. Actually, let's be conservative and go 25 for now, and I'll do some flow tests in a bit. That all looks fine. Machine limits. Emit to G-code. Maximum feed rate in X and Y 500 sounds safe. Okay, that all looks reasonable to me. Bed shape, I'm just going to set this conservatively as 200 by 200 because there's a little bit of geometry that's not quite right with the offset of the tool head compared to where the print bed is. It just needs a little bit of adjustment. I really hope they take off as well, John. I've had a chat with Sid and I've asked him to send me some of the tags so that I can have a play with it. He hasn't come back to me yet, but he's been a very busy guy. Some of his suppliers have just said, oh, we're closing up shop for a few months while we move factories. So that's not going to make his life any easier. Slice now. So we've got filament inserted, everything's in good working order and nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. Let's go here and add ourselves a physical printer. And it's a Clipper via Moonraker. ender5.local. Don't need any of that. Test. Moonraker works correctly. Click OK. Change it. Yes, we want to change it. And there we go. So slice now. And hopefully, I'm not getting an export G code. No, where's the button? I need to probably change this to that one. There we go. And emit, upload and print. So let's go to that one. Homing Z or Z. Now, for some reason, it thinks this is going to take 2.5 hours to print. It's not that big of a print, so it shouldn't. It only took 20 minutes on the core one, so I'm just going to take a guess that it's unsure because of the parameters. Now, I haven't done the Z offset either, so this could be fun. I'll stand here on the offsets just in case. I suspected this nozzle would ooze a little bit. And normally when I start prints, I'll have the bed staged at a much higher level in the start G code. So it's waiting for the bed, I think. Yep. And I haven't done a PID tuner on this toolhead either, so let's YOLO it and see what happens. Hi, Martin. What have you missed, Alex? You've missed nothing exciting. Everything for a change on my stream has been relatively smooth. I had the filler matrix all dug out, ready to go, just in case something went wrong and we had to pivot. But so far, the most extreme thing going wrong is a little bit of stringing. Currently waiting for the bed to get to 60C. And we're just YOLOing a print from printables of what they call a koala, but looks a little bit more like a wombat in reality. Let's go to that one. No, not that one. There we go. Now, just like the core one, the crossbar doesn't actually interfere with the view once the bed's at print height. So when it comes up, we should be able to see the first layer without any problems. That's the whole point of this mod. And that's one more thing that I'm going to print out is I'm going to replace these with blue to match the rest of the changes. So the bed's just hit 60. I think that it's just waiting for the temperatures to fall into range long enough for it to trigger. Come on, don't make me do a PID tune, please. I've just pulled up the command just in case. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so, see if it triggers. It just needs to sit in that target envelope for about 5 seconds for it to start. All right, let's hit pause and stop. Okay, that's parking in its ideal position, so that's good. So let's go 100 for Y, 100 for X. So it's sitting more or less in the middle of the bed. We're going to set the hot end fan to, there's a slider for that. Hot end fan to 40%. Not the hot end fan, the part cooling fan. And I'm going to put it on the you can't really see it no matter which screen I do it in. But in the command window, I'm putting the PID calibrate in for 210C and hit enter. I was hoping we could skip this, but it doesn't appear it's going to let us. 3 AM Greenie, that's all right, man. I'll catch you on a VOD. Everybody remind me at the end of the stream that we need to say hi Greenie, just for one who's watching this on VOD. How many monitors do you have? Just put them up all over the office. That'd be awesome. Walls of me. Stephen's still here, John's still here, Jeff's here. Martin's always everywhere, and I appreciate it. More views the better. Like a Mirror Funhouse. And the ghastly thing of me going, whoa. Sometimes when my wife's on a teleconference with one of her minions at work, I'll just lean in over the back of the laptop and be like, hello. There's one girl I can make jump pretty much every time. And Alex is here. For those of you who haven't already, go and subscribe to Projects in Dad's Garage. Top guy. He's a bit grumpy sometimes, but it's well worth watching his streams. He does different content. He's very much into his Nerf-esque blaster stuff. And today he branched out into a spool sorting stream while he set up his Spoolman. I never have got on very well with Spoolman, which is why I'm hoping the RFID stuff takes off, because that might be what it takes to get me using a proper spool management system. At the moment, I look at my a rail of my rep rack above the printers and go, yeah, I need more green, or I need more blue, or whatever. Click save config to update. So we have got a PID tune all done. Save config. Extruder option control. I know what's going on. Bear with me a second, guys. So let me explain. It's currently trying to save all the PID config stuff down here, right at the very bottom in the green bit, the bit where it says don't play with me. But if you have a PID already set for your extruder elsewhere, then it gets confused. So I believe that we currently have a PID set up not here, but here. Yes, we do. So what we need to do now is, once you've booted up with this, because it will do strange things if you don't, you then hash them out and save. And then go back to here and go save config. And now it will allow it, because it doesn't have the same entries in both places. And I've deleted hashed out one too many of those things, which is not the end of the world. We can easily fix that. Oh, it's not here, it was in there. So I accidentally hashed out these two lines as well, which are actually not part of what it was trying to save automatically. So control / save and restart. Don't know what happened there. I've never seen that error. So all fixed, I think. So let's go here and go home all. Let's go 220. I can't do it while it's homing. $220 and 60. It shouldn't take as long to warm up this time because the printer's already pretty warm. And let's go. For some reason, it's calling it transparent part, but we know it's the wombat. Have I tried Calico? No, well, have I done it in an official capacity? No. Have I installed it on a machine just to play with it? Yes, and then I uninstalled it again. It wasn't anything that really interested me, to be honest. I'm of the firm belief if you need to set an MCU as not always on, then there's probably something wrong if you're trying to mask an error. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Calico, it just doesn't suit my needs. I might, in a few weeks, if I can get permission to talk about it, put the V2 at least temporarily on it to try and get some tuning, the senseless homing tuning done, because I've got some special drivers installed in there and senseless homing is currently basically impossible to tune. So I'll be interested to see if the algorithm can do it. So one of the things I'm going to do after this stream, my offset is miles out. Can you guys see just how far off the bed that is? So let's put a pause to that. And it looks like we're going to have to properly set up the Z offset. So let's go 0. And we've still got about 3 more millimeters there. So let's go dashboard. So for those of you who don't know what I'm doing, I've just manually done a change in Z height offset, but using the command line rather than the buttons to get myself reasonably close. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Y to 0. So I've got a better view of what's going on. And I think this is actually much closer now. So let's get rid of all this filament, go play, and see if we've got anything left on that. Okay, it doesn't like that. Oh, that's because I used the wrong command, isn't it? No, that was right. Let's pause. And remember how I said the geometry was all very much out of whack because of the way the toolhead was done differently? I was hoping that it would be just enough out of whack for it to go off the edge of the bed, but it doesn't. Let's get a piece of paper. Still too high. That's getting close. You know you're getting close because you can just feel a little bit of vibration from the stepper as it's resisting you. That's good now. So let's go stop. And let's go. There should be something here to save this. Save. Save config. Not the ideal way to do it. I should have done a proper calibration. I'm going to have to obviously adjust my All right, I'm gonna have to do this the proper way, aren't I? Okay. Let's go dashboard, machine, printer config, extruder Z. Sorry guys, this is the thing with doing a custom geometry on a printer and then doing the Z homing to max. Things get a little bit funky. I am planning to actually swap over to cartographer, but I haven't had a chance to design a mount yet. Okay, so dashboard. Paper test, here we go. Important to the paper test, blah, 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 blah. Right, choose a method. Delta calibrate, no. Probe calibrate, I don't think so. Manual level. Z and stop calibrate. Sorry guys, I should have been a bit more prepared for this. I was hoping I could wing it. So let's first of all go 220 and 60, so we can do this accurately for the temperature. Actually, we shouldn't really do that, should we? We should do 150, so we don't damage the PEI. No. Let's go middle of the bed, roughly. X. And Y. And Z. Drill a purge hole in the corner. This is just a loose piece of paper that I've got hanging around, Stephen. So that's 150. So let's run that command again. There's got to be a better way than this. So what the plan is, Nick, is to set the maximum X travel to be a negative value, and then I can have a purge bucket off to the side. To get the full width of the bed, I'm going to have to actually machine off a very, not that one. I'm going to have to machine off a very small piece of this steel because it currently clashes with the Y. So yeah, that's where we're going at the moment. Wait a minute. I just realized Clipper screen has much bigger increments. I'm sure Steve's probably yelling into his screen right now, Phil, you're an idiot. Well, he wouldn't say it like that because he's a nice guy, but it's like, why are you doing that way? All right. One more 5mm step. And that is really close now. And in fact, it's so close, I'm going to do a 1/2mm. Perfection. Did I accidentally hit that macro button and cause something to happen? Let's have a look. Home all. I think I may have caught one of the macro buttons and I don't know what that button was assigned to, so it may have broken things, but we'll try. Hi, Wik Central. Sorry, I did see you posted a moment ago. Just, I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing here. So let's set this now to 0 and see if we see home China. I've got my mouse on the emergency stop just in case. So that still says 0 there. I must have hit that button. So the advantage this time is though that the nozzle is an awful lot closer to the bed. That's close now. And that says I'm at the maximum range of travel, and it's just perfect. I'm all. Xena Alaska. Actually, technically, no, Joe. If you were to do the math, if you were to go straight through the center of the Earth and come out the other side, would be somewhere close to the Bermuda Triangle, but not quite in it. So maybe that's where everything disappeared to out of the Bermuda Triangle. It's all in the desert just outside of Perth. Will it crash? Will it crash? No, I think we got it this time. So let's go print. And because we already had the heated bed 3/4 warm, we should be good. I need to change my start macro so that if it's already homed, it would be not too bad. Z- Florida, that's bad. Yeah, I need to change that return to normal height speed. It's too slow. Grant wouldn't agree. Grant's a nice guy. So if you burrowed through to the Bermuda Triangle, which way would the water swirl as it went down the hole? Okay, Brad, it would be both going like this until they meet. I should do it on camera, shouldn't I? They'd both be going the same way until they meet. Glacially slow Z height raise. Let's go to slide cam. There we go. Is that a fraction too high still? Or is it just catching up with the extrusion? Yep, looks perfect. I think we just had enough nozzle dribble that it was, oh, it might be a little bit high. I've just live adjusted by 0.05. These first layer speeds are excruciatingly slow. So I've just doubled the speed in mainsail. Yeah, still a little bit high. That's actually looking pretty good now. Let's see if we can get you guys another box. Let's try and do this without killing myself. Hold tight, don't get seasick. So my first layer speeds can definitely be increased in this profile. Looks like I might need to turn up the extrusion factor a little bit too. Um, Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me. It looks like it's working. Can I get a confirmation you can hear me? Guys, I'm just swapping over the cable for the other camera. It's been playing for weeks, and I just had the cable here ready to do after stream because you don't dick with stuff before stream if it's sort of working. So I'm going to swap it out now because it's obviously broken. That fits much nicer. Ah, that's what's happened. The power supply for my USB hub has come unplugged. So hopefully you guys can see a little bit of what's going on while I quickly fix this. That's the plug. Things should start to come back to normal in a second. I have screens back. Yep, all 3 screens are back. And the other obspot is booting up. And there you go. So let's try doing something super crazy. So the speeds and feeds for this are set up for a normal creality. And obviously that's getting in the way of what we're doing. Got reasonably good bed adhesion, so I've just told it to go to 4 times what a creality is supposed to do. And as soon as that command queue gets and it's not liking that. Let's try. Something's in the way. Something's preventing it going any faster than it is. Oh, it's going. It's printing. I'm going to have to change the setup. What I might do is just swap in the Voron 250 spec, adjust the bed geometry, and go with that. Or I could go with the either the VZBot or the Mercury 1 configs, I guess, and then just dial them back a bit. You've got to run, Jeff. That's no big deal, man. We will see you next week. Biddy, you made it. We were talking about you earlier and how lucky you are and how awesome as well. Biddy, it was quite outstanding just how many people said you're an awesome guy and how well-deserved the win was. So you should be proud, man. Everybody likes you. So what we've been able to achieve so far today is we've installed Clipper Screen. We have futzed around with my Z offsets and fixed my Z heights. We have pushed plastic for the first time, which was the key achievement we wanted to unlock. And we have done some speed tests which say that going beyond 6,500 meters a second is a little bit silly with this. I've just noticed that we currently have a 0 pressure advance, which is probably not going to do a lot for my print accuracy, but let's change that to something silly like 0.02. So I've just changed the pressure advance setting here to 0.02 seconds, just to give it something at least remotely close to what we could expect. And yeah, it's printing. It's pushing plastic, guys. Woohoo! Hi, Brad. Brad's talking to Martin. There we go. So I'm just catching up on chat. The sliders managed to saw through the USB cable. So let's adjust this so you can see me again. Not that you really want to, but stay. There we go. So while that's doing its thing and we've got a few spare minutes, let's take this off the build plate. Now, for those of you guys who started with me right at the very beginning, you'll know that I printed a box turtle and I didn't have much fun with it. Things just never quite got there in terms of getting it running, and it became kind of a side project for me. You can see it up there in the corner at the moment. It's not quite sitting as it's supposed to because I've slowly been working through all the things that have been not quite right. Like fix the thing that's not quite right. Again, they find the next thing that's not quite right, and then the next thing that's not quite right. And I'm slowly getting there in terms of fixing it all. The next stage in that process is a new hub. Now, this is the Projects in Dad's Garage revised version of the hub. Lots of people were having issues with the geometry for lane 4 and strange things happening. So he went ahead and revised the model himself, and it's uploaded and it's sitting on printables. If you download it, make sure you do print it out and then mark it as a make for him on printables, so he gets a few Prusa meters. So yeah, I've printed this out. Just a little bit of a heat stress mark from being pulled off the plate. Actually, this on. In case nobody's seen this before. Sorry, that's a bit warm. It's never going to be perfect, but you can get rid of a lot of the stress mark. And it's amazing how good my noise filter is on that. Let's get rid of most of the marks at least. So we've got that, and I need a whole bunch of my ECAS fittings, which I have a drawer full of over here somewhere. I'm pretty sure I labeled them ECAS. I've got my Wagos. Here we go, ECAS fittings. So while we're waiting for the print to do its thing and running up the end of my print window, well, let's do this. Magic. What's magic? I'm confused, but that's not unusual. So this is the very last of my matching the box turtle ECAS fitting. So I'm going to put this one on the outside where it's visible to the whole world. And I seem to recall this was just a... Oh, it does fit in my vise. Or doesn't it? Does it, doesn't it? That was my other vise that they didn't fit in. That's what it was. So rather than whacking things with a big hammer on the stream, I press them in with the vise. So that they go in nice and square and you don't hear all that loud banging. Oh, I do have a couple more metallized ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's a tool in my box somewhere for fitting these. Now, if everybody remembers, for the box turtle, we actually have to remove the little blue rings off the back. Speaking of box turtle, here's the man who knows them about as good as any of us. It's Digital Dragon, aka Luke. I don't have any pliers quite that big, unfortunately. And I realized I did the wrong end first. I should have done these 4 first and then done the other one. How many is it that you've built now, Luke? Is it like 10 or something? Lessons were learned. Well, that's exactly where I'm at with Box Turtle. I'm slowly working my way through every single troubleshooting step to nail down everything that's wrong with it. The biggest trauma for me was the 8mm shafts from the LDO kit. They were just too long, and when I finally took those to school and machined them down, everything started to fall into place. Well, literally fall into place in some cases, because it meant they actually fitted in the trays. That's the fittings all installed. Now it's just a case of pushing the little hats in. Yeah, the concentration levels in terms of trying to build something while talking, until you start streaming, it's really difficult for people to understand just how hard it is to keep talking to people and not just go silent while you concentrate on something. Yeah, that's the situation. That's where I'm at now. I've got to work out the differences between what I built from the LDO kit and the new more finalized spec, and then update what I think is necessary. That's also going to involve ordering more of this filament, I think, because I'm out, or almost out. But the hub is the thing that I need to fix first. Had to go and do something, John. That's all good. So what we're doing at this moment, John, is we're letting the print do its thing after adjusting my Z height the worst possible way we could, and everything's sticking to the bed. And I've set the printer to go as fast as it's willing to go, and we think we're stuck by limits in the G code at this point. Yeah, when my acrylic panels damaged by IPA or covered in ABS fumes? They were covered in ABS fumes, and then I've tried all the cleaning solutions except IPA to clean them, and that's about as good as they come. This was about 3 hours of scrubbing with that detergent that everybody recommends from the US. I had to have it flown in because it's not available here. I don't have it around. Power something or other. The blue stuff. But yeah, it's still not coming clean. Next year, when the new school budget's in and they replace all their acrylic for the laser cutters, I'm probably going to take advantage of that fact and cut some from the offcuts of this year's materials. So our little wombat is getting there. Let's just have another look at him. Can we get IPA or just lager? We can get bitter, we can get lager, we can get pilsner. We get lots of IPA. One of the nice things about Australia is we have a few big brands, including that Swill 4X that you Americans think is good beer. Mind you, yeah, you think lots of things like Budweiser are good beer. But we have hundreds and hundreds of microbreweries. So we're pretty spoiled for choice in terms of our beer selections. One of the larger microbreweries here is called Little Creatures. So if you can get any of their pale ale, that's not a bad one. 4X, ew. You're not American. I constantly get asked, John, if I still drink my beer warm, and the answer is definitely not. Those of you who don't know, I'm not actually born in Australia. I'm born in the UK. You don't think Budweiser's good beer? At least you've got some taste then, Martin. So between now and next stream, I am going to do a little bit of tweaking on this thing and see if I can machine that little bit of steel off the end of the X carriage so that I can home it properly. And I'm going to see if I can modify the adapter that makes it fit onto the ender so that I can then mount cartographer. If not, well, it looks like I'll be changing things around and redesigning everything so that I can convert it across to a X and Y carriage like on the Mercury 1. It's just I've been trying to save my cash for index rather than spending it on more rails. Bitter is not warm, it's cellar temperature. Everything you get here is poured through a chiller. Getting ready to head to Form Next. Oh, Luke, if you're going to be at Form Next, we insist that you stand right next to the Prusa and Bontech displays and take lots of videos, because based on something I heard from somebody who works for the broader Prusa group, there's going to be index galore. So we want index. We want index. Problem with beer in Germany is you get next to no choice. Yeah, it's very, very regional there. Core 1 index. We definitely need to do a Core 1 index. Although my Rimmer person told me that we might see a Core 1L index, which would be interesting because that would fit like 10 toolheads. My Core 1's going to be so out-of-date, I may as well give it away. I've only just fixed the freaking thing, John. It's only just back to working as it's supposed to. So there's no way this is going to finish anytime soon. Maybe the forecast of 2 hours was about accurate. So what I am going to do is I'm going to say at this point, guys, that it has been great having you all here. It's been amazing that this time change has allowed so many more people to hang around. Tulsa, you're here. Sorry, he comes to a lot of my streams, but I haven't seen him chat. Sorry, I'm missing some of what's going on here. My core works beautifully. Yeah, Luke, I had just trouble with the filament sensor, which was trapping the filament, so you couldn't then actually eject filament. But it turned out the PTFE wasn't fully inserted because there was a piece of plastic in the path where the PTFE tube was supposed to be fully inserted. And I'm guessing that on that particular day, it was the beginning of a long weekend or something like that. And somebody just wanted to knock off and didn't give an F and didn't thoroughly check it. So the PTFE was a lot longer than it ordinarily would have been because it wasn't fully inserted. And that meant that the filament got stuck, and it was, yeah, all bad geometry on the inside that led to it being stuck. And it wasn't until I reprinted it that we found out what the error was. The Century Carbon 2 looks ugly, to be honest. I haven't seen all of the pictures of it, but it didn't look pretty. And I hear that it may not be coming to the US. Some of the stories I've been hearing say it's probably going to be, well, certainly initially going to be China limited. And we might start to see it elsewhere, but may not be going to the US because of the tariffs, etc. But time will tell, I guess. All right, time for me to do my proper outro. I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. We've managed to push plastic, which was the main aim of the stream. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like you to click like and subscribe and leave some comments if you can, especially if you're on VOD. Thanks to Greenbeard. Everybody say thanks to Greenbeard for being here earlier in the middle of the night. Please post in chat to say hi, Greenbeard. And I bid you all a good day and a good night. Good day, everybody.